A cop pulled over a Toyota Corolla for speeding and driving recklessly along US 82 in Texas. When the officer walked up to the car's window, he saw a newborn baby on the driver's lap with the umbilical cord still attached. The driver, who was in tears, said that she had just given birth while driving, and that's why she was going so erratically down the highway. The two were rushed to the hospital, where it was soon found out that this newborn did not belong to the woman. So, whose baby was this? Welcome back. I'm Cassie, and this is A Wicked World. Thanks for joining me today. I've had a few comments that have said that my tone is a little bit too abrasive, but I do think a lot of you like my tone as well. And I just get very passionate about these cases and about how big of shitbags these criminals can be that my tone just gets overly abrasive and aggressive. So, that being said, if you don't like it, sorry. The case that I'm covering today is a long one and a very horrific one. Have you ever met a person that just seems so perfect, and then you find out that they lie about absolutely everything in their lives? I personally have. I'm sure a lot of you have as well. Well, that's the kind of person that we're talking about in today's case. Sadly, Reagan Hancock fell for this charm, and she paid the ultimate price. This is the story of Reagan and Braxlynn Hancock. Reagan Michelle Simmons Hancock was born November 14th, 1998 in Hope, Arkansas. Reagan was a proud mom as well as a very caring friend. She had one daughter named Kinley, as well as a second daughter on the way. Providing for her family was Reagan's number one concern, and she took being an amazing mom very seriously. Friends said that she was there for every single person, whether you had known her for 5 minutes or 5 years. If you were having a bad day, Reagan wanted to be there for you. She was always cracking jokes and had something funny to say. Reagan was also happily married to a great guy named Homer. The two of them were anxiously awaiting the birth of their second daughter, Braxlynn, in November of 2020. Reagan and Homer had actually gotten married the previous year in 2019. Both of them were very hard workers. Reagan was working as a manager at Flying Burger and Seafood in Texarkana, and Homer had previously worked as a jail guard, but he had recently gotten a job at a trucking center. Reagan made good choices in life. She was a good person, and she was loved by a lot of people. The only mistake that Reagan made was getting to know Taylor Parker. Taylor Parker and Reagan were mostly friends online. They had met each other in person a few times as well. Taylor actually had been the photographer at Reagan and Homer's wedding in September of 2019. Though they didn't hang out a lot, they did keep in touch online and they remained friends. So before we can get into what happened with Reagan, we need to talk about Taylor Parker because Taylor Parker has quite the extensive history. And it's very important to talk about Taylor Parker's history because it lets you know the kind of person that she is and how the events of Reagan and Braxlynn's death came about because of Taylor. This will kind of help fill in the picture of how crazy this bitch was. 27-year-old Taylor Parker had a difficult childhood. When she was younger, she was considered morbidly obese, and she had very low self-esteem. She hated who she was, so she would make up new stories and pretend to be other people. Unfortunately, this carried into her teen and adult years, where she just kept making up stories and lies and digging herself into a deeper and deeper hole. When Taylor was only 8 years old, she told the kids at school that she had cancer. By the time she was in high school, she would lie to her friends about having a boyfriend. And anytime they would ask for pictures, she would come up with some excuse as to why she didn't have a picture. She also later went on to say that she got pregnant with this boy's baby. She ended up saying that she miscarried the pregnancy. Taylor was the kind of person that would carry on and lie until she was blue in the face. There was no backing down for her. No matter what evidence you had, no matter what you knew, she wasn't backing down. This actually happened a few times, with Taylor lying about boyfriends and lying about getting pregnant. But then towards the end of high school, Taylor actually did get pregnant. Though many people believed it might have been because there was such a big suspicion about her lying about her previous pregnancies, that she felt like she needed to get pregnant in order to save her reputation at that point. I wouldn't put it past her. Taylor would also ask her friends to take naked photos of themselves and send them to her. I'm not sure what friend would do that, but that's besides the point. She would then crop the head off and send these to men that she was catfishing. Later in life, Taylor ended up married twice, and she had another child, so she had 2 children. One of them she had custody of, and the other one she didn't have custody of. I didn't find details as to why she didn't have custody, but we can make assumptions based on the kind of person that Taylor was. So after Taylor had her babies, she dropped all the weight, and she was a new, skinnier, hotter, but still psycho Taylor. So going forward, a little bit closer to the time that Taylor and Reagan met in 2019, Taylor started a relationship with a man by the name of Wade Griffin. On July 25th, 2019, 27-year-old Wade and Taylor met at the annual Naples Rodeo and Watermelon Festival, which is a big to-do in Texarkana. The rodeo was held 3 weeks after Taylor's second divorce from her second husband, so she was ready to find a new man. And that's when she ran into Wade. Wade was hardworking and he was all around a good guy, though I would say a little bit gullible. You'll see why. Wade was a roofing supervisor and he often put in long hours at work. On the side, he also bought and then sold wild hogs to a meat processing plant. He lived in a cabin in the town of Sim, which is a small town in Bowie County. Less than a month into dating, Taylor decided that she wanted to live with Wade and with her 10-year-old daughter. So instead of waiting for the natural course of the relationship to take place, she decided that she was going to do what Taylor does best, and that was manipulate Wade into letting her live there. The lie that Taylor came up with was that she feared for her life. Taylor explained to Wade that her family had a significant amount of money, as they owned a lot of oil-producing land in Texas. She said that the royalties from this made up her family's multi-million-dollar fortune. Taylor told Wade that recently her grandparents had transferred $6 million into a bank account for her, and it was to help look after one of their properties. However, Taylor said that her mom, Shona, was upset that she didn't have access to the funds. Only Taylor did. So because of this, Taylor claims that Shona had gone and hired a hitman to kill Taylor. However, just in time, the Texas police caught up with the hired hitman, and a shootout ensued between him, the cops, and the Mexican mafia. I don't know where they came from. Taylor pulled them out of her butt somewhere. Anyways, Taylor said that Shona was eventually caught and put into custody. While she was awaiting trial, Taylor said that she hung herself. And she said the reason that the crimes weren't covered by the media, why Wade hadn't heard of them, is because it was all kept under wraps. None of it was true. So because of Wade's busy schedule, he wasn't home all that often. When he was home, he wasn't really interested in Taylor's drama. He just took her word for things and believed her a lot more than he should have. But when he met her, they were in love. And when you're in love, you believe a lot of things that people say. And then from there, you can fall out of love and still keep rolling down that hill, unfortunately. And that's what happened to Wade. Whenever something went wrong, Taylor would connect it back to her mom, Shauna. And Wade just believed this because he had no reason to not believe her. He just thought her mom was crazy. In the beginning of their relationship, Taylor made herself indispensable to Wade. She would take care of his property and his livestock, and she would make sure that he came home every night from work to a home-cooked meal. Wade thought she was the best cook. When Wade's mother first met Taylor, she thought that she was very personable and caring. She really liked Taylor. However, when Wade's mom found out that Taylor did not have custody of one of her kids, that set off a red flag in her head. She wondered why. Usually moms have to do something pretty bad to not have custody. So what was up with Taylor? Very soon into their relationship, Taylor told Wade that they should buy a house together. He thought that was a great idea, And he actually mentioned a property where he knew the owners at Pecan Point. Now, this was a multi-million-dollar property, but that's what Taylor said that she was looking for. She told Wade she had a lot of money coming to her, so they could buy a multi-million-dollar property. Sure, why not? They ended up meeting up with the realtor and checking out the property. Wade loved it. It was a great place for duck hunting, which him and his family like to do together. There was also plenty of space to ride his ATVs. This was pretty much Wade's dream come true. And so Taylor sucked him further into her web. The couple made an offer of $3.5 million with $200,000 up front. The deal eventually included adjoining land as well and totaled to $20 million. At Christmas time, the couple even announced at Wade's family gathering that they were buying this place and they would never have to look for a place to go duck hunting again. They were all set. In such a big moment, Connie, Wade's mom, actually took out her camera and started taking pictures, and everyone started hugging them. They were so excited about this big, huge purchase and this big step in Wade's life. Taylor even went as far in this moment to tell Wade's relatives that she had formed an LLC and had already changed the name to Pecan Bend. So she's got little lies in amongst the big lies, ones that don't even matter in the grand scheme of things, and she's just still throwing them out there. Pew, 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 pew. Taylor started getting a little bit silly and faking checks for millions of dollars. Wade actually tried to cash one of these checks at his bank for $8 million. The teller told him that these things were usually dealt with via wire transfer. But Wade had no idea because he had never dealt with such large amounts before. This was all new to him. The deal ended up dragging on for months while Taylor awaited the money from her family. Ultimately, it ended up falling apart. What was her excuse? She blamed her mother for locking her out of the family funds and orchestrating issues with the banks and the wire transfers. Now, this was before her mother had killed herself. There's a lot of bouncing back and forth between her mom being alive and not being alive in her head. So Taylor knew that the money was never going to come through because it was never there to begin with. Yet, she still urged Wade to buy a bunch of new things. Wade thought, why not? So he went and purchased a brand new $29,000 side-by-side ATV, a new $92,000 heavy-duty pickup truck, and then he also bought 20 cattle for $21,000. Taylor also promised his father that she was going to buy him a whole new barn as his had previously burned down. Then, Wade's tractor needed an upgrade. Taylor said don't worry about it. She'd pay for it. They ended up walking out of the dealership with a $63,000 tractor that was later repossessed because the cashier's check to pay for it was fake. Obviously. So all of these purchases throughout their relationship were expected to be paid off once the money came in. Unfortunately, there was no money, and Wade was left saddled with a ton of debt. Taylor had fabricated family, friends, acquaintances, business contacts, you name it. Some of them even had fake birthdays and backstories. I have no idea how she had time to do any of this. Who has time to remember that shit and to just do it? Whenever Wade would try to call one of these fake contacts back, it would actually go to a voicemail of this fake person. And then the person would text Wade later on with some kind of excuse as to why they didn't answer the phone. At one point, Taylor even told Wade that she needed his phone so that she could have a friend who was in IT put some blocker on it so that Shauna couldn't hack them anymore. In reality, she actually needed the phone so that she could block the contacts of her real family and she wouldn't get found out. One time, she told Wade's mom that she was going to buy her a car. And she did. Kinda. It was a gray Nissan Altima Platinum. And Connie, Wade's mom, loved it. She was so excited. But she was also a little skeptical. It was only a few weeks into Connie having this new vehicle that Taylor called Wade and said, you need to bring the vehicle home right away and put it in the driveway because someone from the dealership is going to come by and get it. There's been a recall on the brake pedal. Connie told her husband, "We're never gonna see this car again." To which her husband said, "Oh, you don't know that." And she said, "Yes, I do. I do know that. Dealerships don't pick up cars on recall. It just doesn't make sense." 2 or 3 weeks later, nobody from the dealership had contacted Connie about the recall on her car, so she reached out to them. They told her the car had never even been purchased, as the money had never come through. So as time wore on, Taylor started to feel that there was space coming between her and Wade. And I'm sure you can imagine why. There was growing debt and the constant drama that was going on in Taylor's life. And she was yearning for physical intimacy with Wade because he wasn't giving that to her. He had started to fall out of love with her at this point. One day she texted him, "I want you to take into consideration on my part, you haven't touched me, kissed me, or anything in over a month. It's lonely, and that's something I need in our relationship. You used to do it, so I'd like it back." Wade texted back, "I'll pass." In February of 2022, Wade came home to see baby stuff on the counter. Taylor told Wade that she was pregnant. However, back in 2015, Taylor had actually had a hysterectomy, which meant she had no uterus and could not have children. It was impossible. So, in order to keep Wade close, Taylor decided that she needed to fake a pregnancy. She told him that she had gone to the doctors today and she was pretty sure that she was pregnant, about 2 or 3 weeks at the most, and it was twins. Wade was very excited to be a dad. However, I'm sure he wished it was with someone other than Taylor. Taylor told everyone that their baby was due September 28th, 2020. Suddenly, though, one of the babies died. Taylor texted Wade from one of her fake numbers, pretending to be her own dad, Mark Morton. Mark told Wade that he had been in a wreck and his bush hog was totaled. Taylor told Wade that she was going to help him get the damaged farm equipment towed. However, when she and a family friend were trying to help out her father, a winch snapped and a towing cable hit her in the stomach and she said it hurt one of the babies. Sounds convincing. That's not really how that works. Wade had never had a child before, so he really didn't know what to expect. He didn't know what was truth and what was not. So Taylor decided to keep updating her Facebook and telling everyone that she was pregnant and buying maternity clothes, buying a fake ultrasound and posting that on social media. She also made sure to create a fake paper trail so that whenever Wade needed any proof, she had paperwork saying that she was pregnant or that she had gone to the doctors that day or something related to it. She had fake everything. So this new baby that Taylor was telling Wade and everybody else about was something that made her and Reagan connect. They were both pregnant with girls and they were both due pretty close together. So they started to bond over this, or at least that's what Reagan thought. Taylor made everything a big, huge deal with this baby. They had a gender reveal, and she wanted Wade to bring a heifer with a pink bow around its neck to symbolize that they were pregnant with a girl. The couple even picked out a name for their baby, which was Clancy Gale. Not that it matters because said baby never existed. Wade's friend Cody Ott told him that things did not seem right with Taylor, and he was kind of unsure if she was pregnant at all. Wade listened to the things that his friend said, and he went back to Taylor and told her of his suspicions. She got pissed and angry that Wade would ever even question her. She was going to be the mother of his child after all. In order to get this unwanted negative attention off of her, Taylor decided that her mom, under the name Mandy Body, was going to start sending Wade threatening emails. So now that her mother was coming after Wade, they had a common enemy. And they bonded over this, and everything was soon forgotten. We were back on track for a baby. Even though Wade was totally ready to stick by Taylor's side, he had a tiny bit of suspicion growing in his head, and he asked his mom if she thought that it was possible that maybe Taylor wasn't showing as much because she had had a tummy tuck before. His mom told him that that couldn't be the reason why. However, Wade's boss and Wade's boss's wife, who liked Taylor, said, "Oh no, there's nothing to worry about. She just has a small frame, and that's why she's not showing." Taylor was even going so far as to fake morning sickness. Some days she would tell Wade that the baby was moving a lot, but whenever he went to feel it, obviously nothing was moving. She, of course, let me add, had also gotten a fake silicone belly from online, which she used in their maternity shoot in August of 2020. Wade said he couldn't tell the difference. She would always hide her naked body from him when she was pregnant, and by the touch of it, the silicone felt real to him. He never knew. Wade would even take time off of work to go to baby appointments with Taylor. But every time, the morning of or the night before, she would tell Wade, "Oh, you don't have to go to the baby doctor because you're just going to sit in the waiting room the whole time. With COVID, only one person can go in. You can't go in anyways. Don't worry about it." Wade was sick of taking all this time off of work and told her just to go and give him the updates after. This is when the mean texts from Mandy Body started back up. Taylor made sure that she had told Wade just before they went to her aunt's house for Christmas, and she was going to be found out anyways to be a total liar. She told him, "Oh, my mom's not dead after all. That was just something that my police contact told me because he thought it was best that Wade didn't know about it. He said Taylor should be the one to tell him." For what reason? Wade said that after he met Shona at the family get-together, he believed Taylor even more about her mom, as her mom had given them an evil glare when they walked in and never introduced herself. Can't imagine why. She probably thinks any guy dating her daughter is a complete psycho too, so she's all set with the whole situation. So now this Mandy Body person was emailing Wade, threatening him, as well as threatening the life of their unborn baby. They kept telling Wade they didn't want him in the family, he was unwelcome, and he needed to do something about it. She also conveniently came out and told Wade that she was the cause of the Pecan Point deal falling through. Shauna, her mom, was the cause, and she admitted it readily to Wade. She would text him regularly to let him know where he was and what he was doing, and that she always knew. On September 16th, Wade received a text. Though at the time he didn't know who it was from, it was Taylor's ex-husband. He was trying to warn him that Taylor could not possibly be pregnant due to, anatomy, and that all the hospitals in the area were on high alert just in case she was going to try to steal a baby. But Wade didn't listen. He was completely under this woman's spell. After Wade told Taylor about this warning that he had received, she of course denied it and got angry for him to ever question that. But she also knew that she was now running out of time. Remember, her due date was September 28th, 2020. She had to think fast to prolong this birth until she could do what it was she was planning to do. So, Taylor decided that on the first day she was supposed to be induced, yes, the first day, October 5th, she was going to set Wade's house on fire. This caused pipe damage and prevented the house from having any running water or electricity. Fortunately, Wade's homeowner insurance decided to investigate, and they found out that it wasn't caused by electrical like they had originally thought. It was actually intentionally set by a lighter. The next day, October 6th, Taylor was set to be induced yet again. However, she couldn't go in because somebody had called in a bomb threat to the Titus Regional Medical Center where she was due to give birth. It was later discovered that there was a phone call from Taylor's phone to the hospital, and she also used a voice-changing app to change what her voice sounded like. Girlfriend, you still have the same phone number. Connie, Wade's mom, tried to warn him on the day that the bomb threat was sent in. The two of them, Taylor and Wade, had gone over to Connie's house to take showers since they had no electricity or water now, thanks to Taylor. While they were there, Wade's mom pulled him aside and said, "There's no baby coming. You're going to lose your job." She was worried that since Wade was on leave from work and it had already been 4 to 5 days from when he said the baby was supposed to come, she thought he was going to lose his job because that's not how it usually happens. It's usually a day or two after, not 4 to 5 days. Wade got angry at his mom about this. He was suspicious inside, but he still kept going through with this. He, however, confronted Taylor about this information, and they ended up fighting about it all night. But Wade still wanted to believe her. He still thought that the baby was coming. Taylor insisted to Wade that Friday everybody would know that she had been pregnant and they would feel stupid for saying that she wasn't. Taylor also decided to call another hospital that was 50 miles away, and she found out that they would not turn down anybody, even if you weren't a patient there. So she decided that that's where she was going to have the baby. What she told Wade, though, that it was just outside of where Shauna would expect them to be. So it was outside of her reach, whatever that means. On the morning of October 9th, Wade and Taylor were supposed to be going to a ranch together to sell some hogs. Taylor had arranged this sale, and they were going to head out early with the hogs so that they could make the 4-hour drive there. And then after that, Wade says they were just going to swoop down and Taylor was going to get induced at the hospital. Swoop down, like it's no big deal. The night before this planned trip, Wade had to pick up a new light for his truck, and Taylor, during this time, went over to Reagan's house and actually bought her a present. It was a Starbucks gift card. So the next morning on October 9th, 2020, around 3:30, 3:45 a.m., Wade woke up so that he could get ready for the trip. Taylor was already up and waiting, but she told him that she had been cramping all night long and hadn't gotten much sleep, so she wasn't going to go with him. She was just going to go for the induction later on so she could get some sleep beforehand. Wade, being a good guy, was worried that something might happen on the way into the hospital, so he wanted to stay home with Taylor. But Taylor, knowing they were in debt, told him that he needed to go, as this sale was going to bring them in $6,100, and they needed it. She said she would get him registered and she'd meet him at the hospital around lunchtime. Wade says that they also got burner phones at this point because of, her mom. On the same day, October 9th, Taylor unfriended Reagan on Facebook, as well as Reagan's husband, Homer. However, 3 days prior to that, we can look at her internet history and see how premeditated what was about to come was. On September 14th, Taylor had searched local places that pregnant women frequent. The results brought up OBGYN clinics, and Taylor made appointments at a bunch of these. She was seen inside the building as well as outside the building during this time. She was seen observing pregnant women going in and out of the building. She was also writing down license plate numbers and trying to search them on Google later in order to locate their addresses. Can you do that? I thought you had to know somebody at the DMV. She also looked up teen pregnancy support groups, and she had attended a few in mid-September. Taylor's phone also showed that she was searching for information on midwife certification, as well as private adoptions. She was also searching on instructions on how to get an out-of-hospital birth certificate. Taylor had also been watching videos on YouTube on how to perform a vaginal delivery and how to perform a C-section out of hospital. On the morning of Reagan's attack, October 9th, Taylor also searched how to deliver a 35-week-old baby, how to give birth vaginally at 35 weeks, also how to perform a physical exam of an infant born at 35 weeks. That's how far along Reagan was. On the supposed day of her delivery, Taylor made a 911 call to report that there was a police officer following behind her on the highway, and she had just given birth and needed an ambulance. She kept yelling into the phone that she needed to get to Idabel, Oklahoma, because that's where her doctor was located. The police officer, who had seen her driving erratically and at high speeds, pulled her over. When he approached the vehicle, he saw that there was a newborn baby wrapped in a blanket on the driver's lap, and it didn't look like it was moving or breathing. It was very apparent that this baby had just been born, and the baby still had the umbilical cord, which was attached to the placenta that Taylor had put down her pants. Taylor pleaded with the officer to just put them in her car and drive her to Idabel because she needed to see her doctor. She also said that the baby was only around 35 minutes old. Taylor was refusing to go to the closest hospital. The ambulance arrived, and Taylor told them that she had been due with her baby on September 30th, but she started to go into early labor as she had left a Walmart. The paramedics were concerned because Taylor looked awfully small to be in such a late-term pregnancy. The paramedics cut off her pants to make sure there was no trauma there, and the placenta fell out onto the floor. They transported Taylor and the baby to the hospital in Idabel. Once she got to the hospital, the doctors, of course, wanted to check her out as they thought she had just given birth in the car. And clearly, she needed to be seen because she needed medical attention. Taylor, however, refused. Finally, once the nurses made it known that she needed to get an exam, Taylor agreed. The exam revealed that Taylor didn't have a uterus, nor blood in her vaginal canal, and a blood test showed that she had no pregnancy hormones at all. She still insisted that she had just delivered a baby. A DNA test was done, and it was revealed that this was Reagan Hancock's baby. The doctors called the police. Here's some of the police body cam footage of Taylor at the hospital after she was found with baby Braxlynn driving down the highway. Thank you to Iwu for the video clip.
Thank God. She's on the phone now with her boyfriend, so I'll try to sidetrack her a little bit. He's an hour away.
Okay.
I can sit with her.
Well, that's what Chad wants to do.
Just talk with the ER doctor. They took blood work, HCG levels, which is a hormone. It's not showing she was pregnant.
Yeah, she said it was strange.
And they're saying that the placenta, they can send the placenta off for test and whether it comes back to her or not. She won't let her do a vaginal exam to make sure she's not hemorrhaging. So she won't let her.
Hey there. What's your name?
Taylor Parker.
Taylor. Hey, my name's Chad Sansby. I'm a OSBI agent up here, and I heard you brought your baby in. Did you give birth on the side of the road or something?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Where was that here? In McCurtain County?
No, it was in DeKalb.
DeKalb, down in Texas?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. So what happened this morning? Did you just go into labor on the side of the road or something?
No, I was supposed to ride with my fiance, and we own a hog buying facility, and we were gonna come through here, but I was having contractions and stuff and wasn't feeling good, so I stayed at home and told him we would just meet here after he dropped the hogs at 7, and he got tied up. I mean, he's on his way.
Okay. All right. Now how did you get here? Did you drive yourself?
No, an ambulance brought me.
You?
Yes,
okay.
like that.
Oh, okay. The nurses said that you weren't wanting to let the doctor check you to make sure you weren't hemorrhaging or anything.
They did an ultrasound.
The hemorrhaging is the bleeding. Whether you're passing clots or not passing clots, it's really good to have you checked for that, because I know I was passing massive clots and they were about to start giving me blood. That's why they're wanting to check out, any damage, and check to make sure you're not bleeding inside internally. That's why they're wanting to make sure.
That's okay, that's fine. I didn't know it was a big deal not to want the guy to do that.
No, I mean, if you don't want to, that's up to you, but that's why they're wanting to check, just to make sure.
Make sure you're okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big deal. I mean, you've got blood all over you and all over your fingernails, and I mean, that's a pretty intense thing.
Having it on the side of the road.
Yeah.
It's scary. You want to make sure you're okay.
Something wrong for them bringing me over here?
What did you have? Did you have a boy or a girl?
A girl?
A girl. Okay.
Did you have a name yet?
Clancy Gale.
Clancy Gale.
That's a nice name.
It is a nice name.
Do you have any other children?
I have 2.
Do you?
How old are you?
Emerson's 10 and Trey's 6.
Taylor, here's the deal. I'm just going to be upfront with you. I've been talking to the DA down in Bowie County, and they've been working on a case down there. And we know that you had a hysterectomy some time back, and that you claimed to be pregnant for a while, but that you really weren't. So we're trying to figure out where this baby came from. But you didn't give birth this morning.
What do you mean?
That's what I just said. You didn't give birth this morning. want to know where this baby came from. So what happened?
I just told y'all what happened.
Okay. What's the doctor going to find when he comes in and checks you? Is he going to find you just gave birth? They can tell. When he looks, he can tell in about a second if you gave birth or not.
Okay.
Found a woman this morning on the side of the road, and her baby had been removed from her body. And then you show up with a baby, and the information is you've had a hysterectomy. There's no way you could have been pregnant. Even though you've been telling people for a while you've been pregnant, there's no way you could have been pregnant. And
I didn't hurt anybody on the side of the road.
well, I'm not saying you did. I'm just saying that there's a woman that had her baby removed from her body. Her body's found on the side of the road. I didn't say you did. I just want to know what happened, where this baby came from.
So, it surely doesn't look like a baby came out of there. It doesn't look like she had a baby.
It doesn't?
No,
Okay.
does not look like she had a baby there.
Essentially what we have is, we have a dead woman down in Texas. And you took the baby out of her. Which caused her to die. And my question is Taylor a cold-blooded murderer? Or is it something else? I mean, sometimes people have, they go through depression and, some mental issues and things. Causes good people to make bad choices, right? And that's kind of where I'm here at today. I knew that doctor wasn't going to find anything. Because I already know a lot of things I ask, I already know the answer to before I ask. I tell you, most of the people are going to assume the worst. They're going to assume you're an evil person and that you just butchered this lady and left her to rot on the side of the road so you steal her baby. I don't think that was the case. I mean, you don't seem like that type of person, man.
I didn't kill anybody.
Where'd this baby come from? We're past all of that. Taylor, we're past that.
I did not kill anybody. I didn't kill anybody.
So was she alive when you left?
I wasn't with her.
Right now, the DA down there who I've talked to believes that you're a cold-blooded killer and that you plotted for the last 8 months to murder this woman and steal her baby. And right now, the evidence is there. They can prove it without a shadow of a doubt that that's what happened. They can prove that you murdered that woman. How heinous is it? Some woman, everybody's happy, they're having showers, and then somebody comes along and cuts her damn baby out of her gut. That's what we got right now. And that's what you need to understand. That's the point where we're at. We're past all this nonsense about, I wasn't there, I didn't kill nobody. We're past all of that. We know it. We know you did it. There's no doubt whatsoever. You didn't mean to hurt her. Are you sad she's dead? Is it the deal you just wanted a baby so bad that it just kind of overpowered your brain and everything?
My head's been hurting.
Your head's been hurting.
I had a stroke in 2015.
You go over to her house and what happened there?
I remember pulling up.
Did she say something to you to make you mad or something? Or what happened?
She grabbed a hold of me and told me that I was a liar.
Did you try to fight back?
We both fought back.
You both fought back?
We both hit each other. And she hit her head on the table.
She hit her head on the table. Okay. That's okay. Hey, that stuff happens sometimes, you know?
I didn't move her.
You didn't move her. Okay. So she was still in her house? Okay. She, when she hit her head, did you think she died and you were just trying to save the baby?
Yeah. And I really wanted a baby.
I understand that. That's okay. Well, and that shows what a good person you are. So you tried to save the baby. So did you I guess you got the baby out of it. Did you do like a C-section on it? You don't remember. So how did you go from her laying there with her head hit to you having the baby in your hand?
I just remember trying to save the baby.
Did you take anything over there with you? I mean, some people carry knives, especially up here, but did you have a knife or a razor blade or anything like that?
No, there's a knife in my purse right there.
Were you inside her house or outside her house?
We started outside, then we were inside
Fighting? Okay.
arguing.
Arguing? Okay. And what, were you inside the house or outside the house when you actually, when it turned physical? She hit you or you hit her?
She hit me outside.
She hit you outside? Okay. Did she run back into the house or something and you go in after her, or what happened then? She hit you outside, then what happened?
I hit her. She grabbed a hold of my hair and shoved me in the garage. Because I remember her hollering, Jennifer.
Who's Jennifer?
I don't know, that was just the name she was hollering.
Now what's her name again? The lady you went over to see? Oh, you go into the living room, y'all fight some more? Continue fighting? I know that.
I don't know what happened.
That's okay. That's why hey, listen, Taylor.
Oh, God.
If I believed that, I wouldn't be spending time talking to you.
Oh, shit.
I'm just trying to get to the bottom of it, right? Why did this happen, right? So, why did she call you a liar? What was that about?
The baby.
Her baby? What about it? Why would she call you a liar about the baby?
I think she got me with the tip of it right there.
Okay.
I just remember hitting her.
But she had a knife though. Okay.
Yeah, but I don't know why she grabbed it. I don't know why I would ever hurt her. But it's not. Because I've never hurt anybody.
Well, I can believe that.
I don't have a record.
I can believe that. She hit you with, she apparently picks up something, hits you with something heavy. You're not sure what it was. And then there was blood. Did you stick her with the knife? Or
No, she fell with the knife because I shoved her.
Okay, so she gets the knife back from you?
We both had it in our hands a few times.
Oh, okay, I'm just trying to get it right in my head, you know what I mean? So.
She told me that I was gonna rot and that she'd kill me if I touched her again.
And she's got the knife. Did she fall on the knife? Is that what you believe? Or is that what you know? Or you don't know?
She had to because I didn't.
You didn't stab her?
I didn't stab her.
Okay, that's fine. So afterwards, did it look like she'd been, like the knife had hit
She grabbed something and started smacking herself with it and told me that they would believe I did it.
Oh, okay, so she started hitting herself with something. Do you remember cutting her open to get the baby out? Did you have much trouble getting it up, cutting her open? You didn't? Okay. So you take the baby out of her stomach, is that right?
It fell out like she was pushing,
Mm-hmm.
and it come out.
It come out of her vagina?
No,
Or out of her stomach? Okay. All
because
right.
she was still in the sack.
Oh, okay. All right. So it comes out of her stomach and it's still in the sack. Did you have to pull the sack apart to get the baby out?
Yeah, to pull it open and turned her over and started smacking her back.
Mm-hmm. Wade said that you've been telling him you were pregnant for a while, for the last 8 months. Why have you been telling Wade you were pregnant? It's just you wishful thinking and you really just want to be pregnant that bad? What was the deal there? You could feel movement. Made you think you were pregnant.
Something's wrong with me. I don't know why I did it. I don't know what's wrong with me. Because I've never been a bad person.
I don't think you are.
Inevitably, Taylor is placed under arrest and taken to the Idabel City Jail.
Meanwhile, Wade was getting to the ranch to do the hog deal around 7:35 a.m. And when he arrived, the person who lived there had no idea who he was and wasn't expecting him at all. When Wade showed him the text messages showing him that this appointment had been set up, he said, "I don't know about any hogs, and that's not my phone number." But Wade still didn't think that it was Taylor's fault. After he called her, he was convinced that it must have been Shona again. And while he was on the phone with Taylor, she showed no signs of anything being wrong whatsoever. Later that day, as they had planned to meet at the hospital, Wade started walking in to find Taylor and was greeted by 3 police officers instead, who put him in handcuffs and under arrest. Wade at the time thought that this was because he had illegally transported hogs over a state line without the proper paperwork. He had no idea yet that Taylor was not pregnant and that she was now involved with not 1, but 2 murders. Baby Braxlynn did not make it. She had been deprived of oxygen for too long before she had made it to the hospital, and she suffered extensive brain damage. They put little Braxlynn on life support. However, she was taken off and declared dead around 1:22 p.m. That same morning, Homer, Reagan's husband, had received a series of weird texts from her phone number. He said that they didn't sound like her at all. She told Homer in these texts that things weren't working out between the two of them and she needed a break. She told him that she wasn't happy and their relationship wasn't working out. Homer said this was completely out of the blue and he did not believe that it was his wife. A little while later, around 9:30, Homer receives a Facebook message from his neighbor saying that his puppy is out loose in the yard. Homer decides at that point that he needs to give Reagan a call, and he calls her to find out what's going on. She doesn't answer. He then calls again at 9:58 a.m. and at 10:02 and at 10:04 and at 10:06 and at 10:20. And at this point, he is freaking out because she's not answering. And she's also home with their daughter. He calls Reagan's mom and asks her to go over there to check on Reagan because she's closer. At the same time, he gets in his vehicle and he flies back home to see what's going on. However, soon after, Reagan's mom, Jessica, entered the Hancock home. She walked into the most horrific scene. Her daughter, Reagan, was lying in a huge pool of blood. Once Taylor was under arrest and started talking to the police, she said that it was Reagan who started the altercation with her. She said that Reagan had pushed her to the ground in the garage because Reagan was trying to prevent her from leaving for some reason. The altercation, as Taylor said, got out of control, and Reagan got so badly injured that she asked Taylor to take Braxlynn out of her stomach and save her. Taylor said that she was only complying with Reagan's wishes and that Reagan was still alive when this happened. A medical examiner later testified that there is no way Reagan would have been able to be conscious for the baby being taken out of her stomach, as Taylor had claimed. The pain would have been so much that it wouldn't have been possible. She also admitted at this time that Reagan's 3-year-old daughter was at the scene when the attack happened. When this went to court, everyone found out the truth of what had actually happened to Reagan that day. Reagan had been beaten and stabbed in 4 to 5 different areas of her home before she made it to the living room and bled out on the floor. There was blood splattered everywhere, all over the walls and the ceiling. There was bloody handprints on the refrigerator, right below an ultrasound picture of baby Braxlynn. There was also a large bloodstain on the couch with clumps of what appeared to be Reagan's hair. There was a blanket on the living room floor that appeared to be soaked in amniotic fluid as well. A jar full of pink and blue sand from Reagan and Homer's wedding laid on the floor with blood on it. It had been used to smash Reagan in the head multiple times. They found a semicircular indentation above her left temple, and it matched the size and shape of the bottom of the jar. This caused her a severe fractured skull. Reagan had a broken nose as well as deep incisions and stab wounds, consistent with that of a scalpel. She was cut open from hip to hip, and her uterus and baby Braxlynn were pulled out. Her hands had extensive defensive wounds on them, bruises, cuts, stab wounds. One finger was dislocated and the tip of another one was cut off. There was also 2 distinct sets of footprints found throughout the crime scene. One set was of the pair of Crocs that Taylor had been wearing when she was arrested. The other was a set of no boundaries sneakers that Taylor had been seen wearing earlier in the day on surveillance video. There were footprints everywhere, like somebody had been doing a lot of walking around the house through Reagan's blood. There was also watery blood stains in the kitchen, like something was being cleaned after the attack. Reagan was slashed and stabbed over 100 times. 39 of those were in her scalp alone. This was vicious and brutal. There were also multiple slashes around her neck. The medical examiner said that Reagan had died as a result of sharp force injuries, as well as blunt force injuries, but could also not rule out the possibility that she had died from the deep incisions that were made around her neck. The police found bloodied blankets, pajamas, and paperwork in Taylor's car. Once they were sent in for processing, the blood all matched Reagan and Braxlynn's. They also found a diaper bag inside of Taylor's car filled with baby clothes, diapers, and toys, and this was also covered in blood. A former worker at the Northeast Texas Women's Health Clinic in Mount Pleasant, where Taylor had been a former patient, said that Taylor had showed up not long after announcing her pregnancy, looking for medical records. She told them that she had a mass in her abdomen that had a heartbeat, and the doctor wanted to do a biopsy to make sure it was viable. So a baby? This worker said that Taylor was also particularly interested in her old ultrasound pictures from her 10-year-old daughter, saying that she just needed them for a school project. No one at the clinic could do anything because of patient privacy laws. Instead, they did warn everyone at the hospital. Everyone at the clinic, though, thought that this would end the same way as any other fake pregnancy ends, in a fake miscarriage. So they weren't worried. After this gross and horrific crime, Taylor had taken baby Braxlynn and gotten in the car and was on her way to the hospital that was nearly 50 miles away, while Braxlynn wasn't breathing. Not only was she selfish in killing Reagan, she also denied this baby a hospital sooner so that she could cover up her lie. The baby that she wanted so badly that she went and committed this crime. Taylor Parker, who was 27 at the time of the murder, was charged with kidnapping and capital murder and was sentenced to death for the murder of 21-year-old Reagan Hancock and her unborn baby, Braxlynn Hancock. Reagan's mom described Taylor as an evil piece of flesh. The community in the small town that Reagan was from rallied around Reagan's family. They created fundraisers for Homer and Reagan's daughter Kinley. While Homer is not Kinley's biological father, he loves her like she is his own, and he is working towards full custody of the little girl. This is one of the most horrific crimes that I've ever heard of, and it just goes to show how far some people will go to cover up their lies. It's unbelievable. I really hope that Reagan's daughter and husband continue to heal because what Reagan's daughter went through was extremely traumatic. She was home the entire time this attack happened. She must have heard it. There's no way she couldn't have heard it. Her mother must have been screaming and fighting for her life. The terror in that little girl must have been unimaginable. And I am especially so sad for her because she was there and because she lost her mommy and her sister. Well, thank you for listening to all of Reagan and Braxlynn's story today. Taylor Parker is a monster, and the world will be just a little bit better the day that she's executed. And she is an absolute, useless, worthless human being. That being said, if you like true crime stories, then don't forget to subscribe below or give this video a like. Both are greatly appreciated. And if you would like to help support the channel, as well as get exclusive videos and more, then go ahead and check out our Patreon. The link is below in the description. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care, guys. Bye.